Cutting across to my colleague Shilpa Ratnam as well. Shilpa, as we track all the developments which are happening, a lot of fans, everyone who want to pay their last respects, any kind of special arrangements that have been made at the residence of Lataji?
You can see there is the police here, and yes, the mortal remains have reached the residence. I want to tell you, this is a singer who enjoyed immense respect in life and in death as well. There is the military police that is also here, and of course a heavy police arrangements have been made here, security arrangements have been made here, and the mortal remains of Lata Di have reached her residence for one last time. Her family and friends have all gathered here, and they're all still coming in. We're expecting the mortal remains to remain here for about 2 hours, and they've just reached the residence from the hospital now. A very sad moment for her friends and family. A huge commotion here. A lot of fans also trying to make their way here, but being stopped by the police and barricaded out of the lane. Lata Di's mortal remains will also be available for viewing at Shivaji Park from 4 p.m. today, proceeding which at about 6:30 p.m. She will be cremated at the funeral attached to Shivaji Park. Currently, the ambulance making its way into the residence. We're also seeing more dignitaries making their way out here. We were told Sachin Tendulkar reached the hospital to pay his last respects. We know they were very fast friends, being two Maharashtrian luminaries, two icons of the state. But now mortal remains have reached the residence, and the entire industry really making its way here. Not just film industry members, but also politicians, friends, family. They're all coming in here, and there's a lot of commotion here, perhaps to catch one last glimpse of that legendary singer.
We stay with the visuals where Shilpa Ratnam is right now at Lata Di's residence. The mortal remains have reached. We continue to report the story from all different angles, and as we told you, voices have been pouring in from across the industry, everybody paying their last respect to the departed soul. Well, we've been talking about her art, the work that she leaves behind. That's the work which is going to live on. That's the legacy she leaves behind. She has given voice to generations of actresses. A generation of consciousness, of emotions have been shaped. Very close family members are already present at her residence right now. We continue to respect the privacy of the family. Those are the visuals coming in from outside. Full state honors will be accorded. Shilpa, once again, cutting back to you. Just take us through 6:30 p.m. That's when the cremation will happen with full state honors.
We're expecting the cremation to happen, and this will take place at the crematorium that's attached to Shivaji Park itself. Currently, her mortal remains have been brought to her residence. This is her iconic residence where she's resided for many decades now. Yes. This is Prabhu Kunj on Pedder Road. It is in South Bombay, and in fact has this entire area is known as the area around Lata Mangeshkar's home. She's made, how she's made music synonymous with herself. This area has also become synonymous with Lata Mangeshkar, and now finally mortal remains reach her residence, her home, the residence of this Nightingale. In fact, the chalk here has also been renamed to reflect her name as well. So now friends and family, we expect, will be visiting her, and her very close colleagues as well from the industry, including politicians, will be making their way here. Already we have director Madhur Bhandarkar, Ashutosh Gowarikar, Javed Akhtar waiting there to welcome Lata Di for one last time, and proceeding which after those last respects are paid at her residence and all those rituals are done, her mortal remains will leave to Shivaji Park, where there'll be a larger viewing available for friends, family, colleagues and fans, and that is where the Prime Minister is also expected to make his way. As you can see, there is very heavy police presence here. We also saw many military police personnel making their way here. Earlier, a bomb squad had also come to sweep the premises.
All right.
One of Maharashtra's icons, one of our national
All right, Shilpa, as you get us all those details, I'm quickly going to introduce our guests as well, who are with us on the broadcast. Mr. Gautam Chintamani, a film historian, Asif Bhamla, the founder of Bhamla Foundation, Shibani Kashyap, who's a singer, all of us with us on the broadcast. Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on the show. Gautam Chintamani, coming first to you. Talk to us about what Lata Didi's voice means for this country. We have spoken since morning how she's a voice for generations. Whether you were growing up in the 90s, 80s, or 70s, in many ways, your emotional consciousness, your emotions, were given voice by Lata Mangeshkar, and that's a legacy that will continue to live on.
It's indeed a very sad day that the voice which defined many of us is no more with us. To talk about Lataji is, one doesn't know where to start, because ever since, like you rightly said, she's a part of our conscious memory, and she has been the voice of Indian cinema for so long that it is very difficult to imagine this landscape without Lataji. I'll give you an example. I think in the late 90s or the early 90s, she held a concert in Mumbai, which was one of her final concerts. And it was the era of satellite television, so it was being beamed live everywhere. And you could see Lata Didi singing her songs from 1940 onwards up until the 1990s. And there was a screen where the visuals of the films were being played, and she was almost lip syncing the song. It was amazing to see, because there were generations of actors. She has sung for mothers, grandmothers, their grandchildren, and you could see that 5 generations of actors were blessed to have Lataji sing for her. It is a voice which is ageless, which is timeless. But more than that, I think it has come to define what we think of India in more ways than one. And it's not just limited to cinema. I mean, her "Ae Mere Watan Ke Logo" is something which will be immortal forever. And I think the body of work that Lata Mangeshkar ji has had right from the 1940s, I think she predates big stalwarts like Dilip Kumar and Raj Kapoor and Dev Saab and what have you. So it is almost impossible to fathom the impact that Lata ji has had on our lives.
Absolutely. Shibani Kashyap, who's a singer herself, is also with us on the broadcast. Shibani, for singers of your generation, she must be an inspiration, a goddess of music, of course, who lived through our generations. We were very fortunate to see her in Blood and Flesh and listen to the songs that she's left behind. What does she epitomize for younger singers like you all? Shibani, if I'm audible to you? All right, we'll try and connect to Shibani in just a bit. We seem to have lost that phone line, but those are the visuals on your screen, live from the residence of Lata Mangeshkar, where the mortal remains have reached.